everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I am joined by Emma Sanders to talk about Liverpool's 4-0 win over Charlton Athletic yesterday in the FA Women's Championship. I think it's just going to be a video full of smiles and happiness because we're just like so excited to just talk about this game.
Such a good game.
Yeah, I think firstly, back-to-back wins. Like, it's been a long time since we've been able to sort of talk about so many wins, and as fans it's just amazing to see us performing really well and just getting the win, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, just to be honest, watching us win in the league, I can't remember the last time I watched us win in the league, like in person. So, because obviously I was at the Durham game and was just like, I don't know, it felt like even though we drew, it felt like it was like a crushing defeat. So to actually watch us win a game live in the league was just really cool. But yeah, just the performance and the result will just give the team so much confidence because, like you say, back-to-back wins, like they've not felt that. And some players that, you know, like people like Furness and like Riley and everyone who sort of joined in January last year, like they've not ever experienced that in a Liverpool shirt. So that's just pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Actually, the point you made about the Durham game, I watched that in the airport because it was on the FA Player. I remember watching it, and then I seen us score, and then I couldn't watch the second half because I was flying. And then the first thing I did when I landed was to check the score, and I seen 1-1, and I was just a bit like, oh God, is this going to be like another tough like start to a season? Because we always knew that the Championship was going to be tough. We never thought we'd fully hit the ground running and like dominate teams, but that, I think the reaction from the players and the manager after that Durham match sort of sparked something else in them to be like, well, we don't want this same feeling and like what happened last year to happen again. So now we've gone and beat London Bees 3-0, and then you've gone and beat Charlton 4-0, and it just gives everyone like a really good buzz like around the ground and around I suppose around the training pitch as well. They're probably so happy to be going in to training again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was really concerned about, I know I spoke to you about it, and I said it on the Anfield Wrap podcast after the Durham game, that like my main concern was how the players were going to obviously react to that and the mentality. And obviously Vicky was in like the video that she did with us, she was really like angry, I guess, and disappointed with the result, but also with her players, and like she sort of demanded a lot more from them. And then obviously we saw that against London Bees, and just the reaction from that Durham game was just so good. So for them to then have that same level of kind of motivation and like will to win was just really, really good to see again yesterday. And you know, we were chatting, those of us who were lucky enough to be there were sort of chatting about the intensity sort of within the first 10 minutes, like that it was so stark contrast compared to what it was against Durham, where it's just they looked nervous and they looked like I described the kind of passing as like safe. It was like people didn't want to make a mistake and they were scared to kind of make a risky pass because they didn't want to be that one player that sort of made the mistake on like the opening day. And you know, they just looked like a completely different team. Like they looked like a team who were like intense, just determined, aggressive on the ball, taking risks. Like they just looked like they were having fun. Like the amount of kind of flair that we saw from like Rinzola and like Furness and like Taylor Hines at left back was just for me, like she just had an absolute amazing performance. Like she was brilliant. The first half an hour, she was just absolutely on top of every single player, and she wasn't she just wasn't letting them breathe. And it was almost just like Liverpool absolutely suffocated them. And that first sort of half an hour sort of set the tone for the rest of the game. And once they got the first goal, you were just like, you couldn't see anything other than a Liverpool win. You didn't see a Durham happening again. You just knew that they were just going to go on and push on from that.
Yeah, I think like looking at the game, and obviously I was just following along with like Twitter updates and that. It seems that like you just mentioned, then they were obviously playing with a lot of confidence, and they seem to have just clicked really well. I think like last season there was a couple of games or a couple of times where you sort of looked at them and no one really knew what to do, and like you said, they were sort of trying to play like the safe pass and whatnot, but like that, especially the last two games, obviously following the Twitter updates and that, everyone just seems to be having fun, like you said, and it seems like a completely different like sort of mentality that this team now has. Like, would you agree with that? Do you reckon it's just like a confidence thing maybe that this season that they just feel better about it?
Yeah, definitely agree with that, because I think the quality was always there. We knew that last season, and I still believe that we would have stayed up. But, you know, it was just the players were just under so much pressure in every game. And even in that first game against Durham this season, the players were, you know, they were under pressure. And like I said, like they looked nervous, but they just seemed to have found that cohesion. And it did just click. Like, you've kind of hit the nail on the head there in terms of like the performance yesterday. I mean, obviously I didn't see the London Bees game. I'm not sure there was sort of any sort of Liverpool media that were there for that game, not that I'm aware of. So, you know, for a lot of us, it was the only thing that we'd really seen was the Durham game. And obviously that one was on the FA Player as well. So that's, I'd imagine a lot of the fans would have seen that. So it was just so good to see yesterday just how well they played together. And, you know, it was like, it's clearly something that Vicky and the coaching staff have worked on with them, because it was triangles that they were making sort of around the pitch, and the link-up play between certain players in certain areas on the pitch was just spot on. And you could just tell that they were all on the same wavelength, and that's serious. That's, you know, it's obviously something that they've worked on in the training ground. But yeah, it was just so refreshing, and it was so enjoyable to watch. And I can't stop smiling, because I genuinely, we just came out of the game thinking, what a good team this is to watch football. Like, I haven't, you know, obviously we know that they're good players, but they just didn't really show it last season, and they showed it yesterday, and it was just so enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, I think I've got to discuss, I think it wouldn't be a surprise to anyone, is Rachel Furness. We've mentioned many a time, basically almost every video that her name's been brought up, we've said just how amazing it is to have her in our team. She got 2 goals yesterday. That brings her total to 4 for the season. So she's already beat last season's, she's already equalled, last season's goal tally that she got, even though, you know, the season was cut short and whatnot. But yeah, what did you make of her performance yesterday? Because from everything that I seen in the highlights and then everything I've seen on social media, it was like one of the best performances in a Liverpool shirt.
She was just brilliant yesterday, and I just think it's more, we all know about her leadership skills, we know what she brings off the pitch, but so she was obviously substituted late on in the second half, and literally, I think Philippa Smallwood said this on the Anfield Wrap afterwards, and we sort of giggled afterwards, because she came, you know, obviously being in there behind the closed doors, you can hear kind of everything in the dugout as such, and, you know, everything that the players sort of say and the manager says, which is quite interesting. But so she came up and was sat on the was obviously sat in the stands with the rest of the substitutes, and so we're talking like 87th minute when Liverpool are 4-0 up. And she's like absolutely screaming at, I can't remember who it was, it might have been Jade Bailey or whatever, and she was just like, left, and she's calling instructions, and she's not even on the pitch, and it's like, there's 3 minutes left to play and they're 4-0 up, but she just wants to win in every minute of every game, and it's just, she just wants the team to just be intense all the time, and that was what she brought to the game yesterday. It was that intensity and that level of concentration, which they perhaps, like I said, you know, I felt that they missed against Durham, and she brought that big time, and she just took the game by the scruff of the neck, and she just said, I'm going to control this game, and that is exactly what she did. And I think all the praise has gone to Fernie, and rightfully so, but I actually thought Jade Bailey was fantastic yesterday. I thought the performance that she put in was really good, and her alongside Fernie in that midfield, they just absolutely bossed it, and like I said, they linked up really well. You know, Fernie's obviously got a really good relationship with Rinzola off and on the pitch, and he showed that on the pitch yesterday, where, you know, there was like sort of long balls coming over, and Fernie would just be there to knock it on, and they were constantly looking for like the runs in behind from Fernie and from Mel Worley on the other side, and they just seemed to gel so well. And yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, obviously Fernie's just on an absolute high at the moment. She scored for Northern Ireland last week as well, so she's even scoring in green. So put her in any shirt and she'll score you a goal. She's an absolute worldie of a player, and she's a Liverpool player, so happy days.
I don't think you've seen anyone as happy as us when we realised that she's obviously staying on like for this season, because you just didn't know with a lot of players how they'd feel about obviously playing in the Championship and whatnot, and also like obviously whether the club could afford to keep so many, you know, high profile players on as well. But like I think for her to be with us this season's amazing, and yeah, like you said, I think the whole leadership of it, I wouldn't say it's something we lack, because we obviously had a lot of players. Obviously, Bradley Auckland Fahy, we've got a few others who are quite vocal. But I think she was almost what we needed at the time when she came in, and then she's continued to do that. And obviously, she's took the vice captain role this season, with Fahy getting captain in replace of Bradley Auckland. So it shows just how much of a key role she plays on and off the pitch, and she's going to be so crucial to the development of our youngsters as well. Like you said, you just mentioned Rins, you've got other players as well. Like I'd probably say the same for like Rachel Law with Riley. Like having someone like her to sort of model her game off and whatnot, it's really important to the progression of our squad, because you know the likes like Euphony and all them, they're not going to be around forever. It might only be around for like another couple of seasons, and it might not be for us either. You just don't know what happens in football, so you need to make sure that while they're here, they make that impression on our squad. So then, you know, it probably gives other players encouragement. Like, say for example, like Jade Bailey, I don't watch her like maybe like a key role in that midfield, but maybe this season she will play that key role, and maybe it'll give people more confidence to sort of express how they're feeling on the pitch as well, and give other players encouragement, because they are the players that do have to step up this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And like even when you mentioned the young players there, like Missy Kearns came on, she had to replace Raza Roberts in midfield because she got injured, and she came on and she was brilliant, and she almost got a goal actually, and we were all on our feet, because I think it was like she absolutely hit it sweetly from, I think it was about 20 yards out, and it literally just went past the right post, and we all thought it was in. And I think a goal would have just capped off a brilliant performance from her. And obviously she's still a teenager, and she's coming into this team, and she gets to learn off leaders like Fernie, and like you say, Rachel Laws has been massive as well since she's come in. And I remember speaking to you back when we signed her, and I was like, she's going to be a leader. That's who she is, and she wants to be involved. She's a busy person. She was bored out of her brains yesterday, because like Lawsy just wants to play football.
Watch the highlights, shouldn't have that one. I think he played like a clip of her catching, just so she was.
No, you could tell that she was just. I feel like she probably wanted a bit more action her end, just to get involved in the game. But no, I'm joking. Like she absolutely would have taken that domination all day long. But it's just really good. But I think just to go back to the point earlier that you said about sort of bringing in a player like Fernie in terms of leadership, I do agree in the sense that we had leaders, but I feel like a lot of those leaders were probably leaders off the pitch, and that's no disrespect to Nephi or Sophie Bradley Auckland. Obviously, I think Sophie in particular is obviously a big miss in terms of like her vocal and the organisation that she brings to like the back line. But I think a lot of the sort of experienced players that we had were very good at sort of leading people like off the pitch, but I felt that we lacked somebody on the pitch who just had like a presence, and that for me is what Fernie brings. And like I said, it's not necessarily just her shouting constantly, which she does, and she's very, very loud. That obviously helps, but it's just the kind of, I don't know, it's just there's an aura about her which she brings. And you just know if she's on the pitch that you're going to get that intensity and you're going to get that aggression. And that was something which, I think we needed in the Championship. And that's really going to help us this season.
Yeah, definitely. I think one other thing that really stuck out to me was just the amount of goals that we've got as well. Obviously, 1-1 in the first game, 3-0 last week, 4-0 yesterday. That's not something we had a lot of last season. We just couldn't score. Like, that was our biggest downfall. We just couldn't score. And now I think we're second in the league in terms of goal difference. And it's so refreshing that we're scoring more goals, and it's coming from different people as well. Obviously, Fernie, we relied heavily on Fernie towards the back end of last season, who was scoring most of our goals. Obviously, Rins got a lot as well. But you're now seeing other players sort of getting involved. And I think that's just like a huge positive to take, because we just couldn't do it last season. We just couldn't score, and it was starting to get not just frustrating for us, but I think for the team as well. So I think they'll take massive positives away from that as well.
Yeah, by the way, I'm fidgeting loads because I'm freezing and I need to turn my heating on. So I'm like, oh, yeah, no, it is. It's really good to see the goals. Obviously, that was something which was so obvious, and that, you know, it was clear that was on Vicky's priority list this summer in terms of bringing in a goal scorer. She brought in obviously Emily Thestrup, and you know, she's been on the bench for the last 2 games, but I thought she came on and did well. But I think that's testament to the performances that Jess Clark's been putting in, because I think she played really well in pre-season, got a lot of goals, and then she came on against Durham, and to be honest, it changed a little bit when Jess Clark came on in terms of like the intensity of the game, and she brought that yesterday, and she led from the front, and the only thing missing from her game yesterday was a goal. She was fuming when she got taken off. She really was. She did not look happy when she came off, because she's got that hunger to want to play and want to score goals. And this is a centre forward who obviously we missed massively last season because she was out injured a lot. So it's great to have Jess Clark back, and I think because you have got midfielders now who are linking up and playing really well, they're bringing in other players around them, and that's something that again we spoke about yesterday in terms of what Fernie brings, is that she brings in players around her in the game as well. So Mel Lawley just was a lot more active in this game. You know, against Durham, I was quite critical of her in the sense that I just felt like she was hiding and wasn't really, you know, coming for the ball or showing for the ball. And it was the complete opposite yesterday. She was constantly asking for the ball, constantly making runs in behind and wanting to be involved. And she was taking players on. Like, I can't remember the last time that she did that, really. And obviously, you know, we know that Rinzola does that anyway. Rinzola's obviously high on confidence. She had a first England call up last week. I was at St George's Park and watched her in that first training game, and she came on as a substitute and really impressed. Everyone in the media was talking about her afterwards. So she's on a high. So other people are bouncing off her. Obviously, Fernie's on a high. She's just carried that on from the form that she had at the end of last season. So I think when you've got players that are hungry and confident and want to get on the score sheet, it then helps other players, because you know they're bouncing off that and they're getting that creativity, and they're benefiting from that creativity. So it's really good to see those goals. And yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of teams are going to sit back. We know that because it's Liverpool and they're obviously one of the favourites in the league. But at the moment, you know, judging by the last 2 games, I think the team have showed that they can break down teams even when they do set back. So yeah, it's really positive signs, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Coventry United away next then. How you feel about that? Obviously we played them in pre-season and that, but I think given recent results, you can't help but like feel confident going into that game.
Yeah, I think so. I think Liverpool will feel really confident. The players will. Obviously, they won 4-1 in that pre-season game.
Yeah.
You know, I mentioned Jess Clark there. She scored twice in that game. Rinzola and Nufahi as well got the other goals. So yeah, they've showed that they can beat them. Obviously, we don't know what kind of sides they put out. As far as I'm aware, the Liverpool side that we put out against Coventry was quite young. Mm-hmm. So the fact that, like I said, I don't know what kind of side Coventry put out, but I think the fact that Liverpool obviously came away with goals from that game only a few weeks back will give them confidence. And then obviously, you know, the performances that they've put in, particularly the performance yesterday as well, I think Liverpool will be absolutely ready and raring to go, really. And I just think the quicker the games come now, the better for Liverpool.
Yeah, definitely.
We just need to keep this run of form going and pick up the results. And, you know, I was saying to Neil Atkinson yesterday, obviously from the Anfield Wrap, that I just think once Liverpool get to the top of the table and they see themselves top of the table, I think that'll be a big day there. Bring it on.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just so nice and so refreshing just to see us at the top and just see us playing well, and like you couldn't help but just sort of, I think this morning the first thing I thought about was highlights, and when the highlights were up here, because I was like, I just want to see it. I just want to see us playing.
Seen it yet?
Yeah, I've watched them. Don't you worry. I was all over that, mate. But yeah, it is just to pick up on what you said there about us needing like a good run of games. I think that obviously we were on really good form towards the back end of last season. Obviously the results didn't quite going our way, but I think if we did have, we did have to play our remaining games, I think, like you said, I think we would have had a really good chance of staying up. I think we would have done. And then obviously we beat London Bees, and then there was a break. And I remember saying to Amy, I hope that doesn't affect us, because we've just got a really crucial win, a big win for us, like really. And now we're having a break. Some players are going off to international, and you think, oh, you don't want anyone to come back injured. Some players are just, obviously would have just had like a normal week of training, but then you just didn't want them sort of drop off a little bit. But then I don't feel like we will do that this season. Like I genuinely am confident that we will go out every single match and think to ourselves, like we are capable of beating every single team in this league, because we are.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's it. I think they just needed that confidence, and they've got that now. They know that they're capable of putting in the performances that they put in yesterday, because they've done it 2 games on the bounce now. So it's not like that was just a one-off. And that's for me is what's so important about picking up back-to-back wins or going on these runs, is that we need to start showing that consistency. We didn't have that last season at all in the slightest. So to be consistent this season is what's needed for Liverpool to go up, because we've spoken about this loads of times. You said it at the beginning of the show. It's a tough league, and Liverpool have to perform well. And performing well means performing consistently well. So, I think the only thing is, obviously, there's a Conti Cup game against Man United, which is obviously going to be really tough, and that might break things up. But I think if Liverpool can put together a couple of wins on the bounce in the league, bearing in mind we're missing experienced players like Becky Jane, who's obviously, Vicky Gepson wrote in a column that went on the website, I think 2 days ago, that she's obviously back in training now, which is great, but she's obviously still a few weeks out. But if Liverpool can win these games without, someone of that caliber of player not being in the team, then what a boost it'll be to then see Becky Jane come back into the side, having already got, wins under their belts. Like, it's just another boost.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think going into that Coventry game, I can't see why they wouldn't be confident, and I can't see why Liverpool won't come away with 3 points, because on paper, they're the much better. They are the better side. So I'd be disappointed if it was anything other than 3 points.
Yeah, definitely. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Exciting times, really. It's just really, it's just really nice. It's so much nicer to be able to sit here and talk about wins than it is like, oh, we were so close to scoring, or we only got. It was like, because we had so many 1-0 defeats as well. And it was just it just felt like a constant cycle. But now it's something so different, and you can talk about something that's so much more refreshing and so much.
Just need the fans back, don't we?
Yeah,
just need.
I mean, I don't think it'll be before Christmas, but I mean, you never know. Never know.
I mean, Furness basically, like, she can do magical things, so she can probably do that. She can probably bring fans in. So I wouldn't put it past her.
Furness for Prime Minister. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for watching. Remember to let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. You can watch Amy's post-match reaction from yesterday. I'll leave a link to my article as well, and then we'll have a podcast for it on Wednesday, hopefully, and then all build up a match reaction and whatnot from the weekend's game. So there'll be loads of content that people can watch.
Amazing.
Yeah,
I can't wait. Just gonna watch all your content. Watch their content. It's amazing. Woo!
Yeah, there we go. I'm just gonna clip that and just share that each time.
You can give me the $5 later.
The $5, yeah. It's all, yeah. Cool. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm going to see you all soon with a new video. Bye.